In Matthew's book, Jesus said, go into all the land. Take the word, share it, teach it, preach to every man. Just do his will, because he always... Hello, this is Dr. Greg Mays with Your Word Wednesday. Recently, I have been watching a television show. Now, I say television show, I'm binge watching it. And it's called The Good Doctor. And there was something that someone said in that show that made me pause. They were talking, one character is talking to another character, and one character says, they were kind of like talking about praying, said, no one's probably listening anyway. And that struck me. How many people believe, we're not just talking about saying it in a script, in real life, how many people believe that no one is listening? And when we speak of this no one, we're talking about the Lord. How many times have you prayed and then just accepted, I'm saying that sarcastically, just accepted that God's not going to answer your prayer? I want you to understand something. God hears everything. Let me say that one more time because I want you to get this. God hears everything. I want to take you over into the book of John. Now, this is early on, the book of John in chapter 1. And the Bible tells us down around verse 43. It says, the next day, Jesus decided to leave for Galilee. Finding Philip, he said to him, follow me. Philip, like Andrew and Peter, was from the town of Bethsaida. Philip found Nathanael and told him, we have found the one Moses wrote about in the law, and about whom the prophets also wrote, Jesus of Nazareth, the son of Joseph. Nazareth? Can anything good come from Nazareth or come from there? This is Nathanael talking. Philip says, come and see. Down to verse 47, when Jesus saw Nathanael approaching, he said of him, here truly is an Israelite in whom there is no deceit. How do you know me? Nathanael asked. Jesus answered, I saw you while you were still under the fig tree before Philip called you. To this, Nathanael responds, Rabbi, you are the Son of God. You are the King of Israel. Watch what Jesus says. And Jesus says, you believe because I told you I saw you under the fig tree. You will see greater things than that. He says, very truly I tell you, you will see heaven open and the angels of God ascending and descending on the Son of Man. God is listening. He hears everything. This is just one example of God listening and hearing everything. In the book of Daniel, I want to take us over there real quick. In the book of Daniel, we see a prayer. And Daniel prays and then waits. Now what we find is, it says, in the third year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a revelation was given to Daniel. He was called Belshazzar. Its message was true, and it concerned a great war. The understanding of the message came to him in a vision. Let's watch what Daniel says. He says, I, Daniel, mourned for 3 weeks. I ate no choice food, no meat or wine touched my lips, and I used no lotions at all until the 3 weeks were over. On the 24th day of the first month, I was standing on the bank of the great river, the Tigris. I looked up, and there before me was a man dressed in linen, with a belt of fine gold from Uphaz around his waist. His body was like topaz, his face like lightning, his eyes like flaming torches, his arms and legs like the gleam of burnished bronze, and his voice like the sound of a multitude. I'm going to skip down, and I want you to hear what this person, this angel, says. Down at verse 12, he says, do not be afraid. Well, let's go back up to verse 10. It says, a hand touched me and set me trembling on my hands and knees. He said, Daniel, you who are highly esteemed, consider carefully the words I am about to speak to you, and stand up, for I have now been sent to you. And when he said this to me, this is Daniel talking, I stood up trembling. Watch this. It says, then he continued, do not be afraid, Daniel. Since the first day that you set your mind to gain understanding and to humble yourself before your God, your words were heard. And I have come in response to them. Watch what he says at verse 13. Learn this. He says, but the prince of the Persian kingdom resisted me 21 days. 21 days. Watch this. You got that? The prince of Persia, this is the enemy, resisted this angel 21 days. Let's go back over into the beginning of this chapter. It says that in the third year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a revelation was given to Daniel. Its message was true, and it concerned a great war. The understanding of the message came to him in a vision. Now watch this. He says, at that time, I, Daniel, mourned for 3 weeks. Why was he mourning? He was waiting to hear from God. He's prayed. Now he wants to understand the revelation of the vision. 3 weeks. What does the angel say? Since the first day that you set your mind to gain understanding and to humble yourself before your God, your words were heard. God is listening. And it says that he was resisted for 21 days. And those of you who are really good at math, you know that 21 days and 3 weeks are virtually the same. Am I right? And so what I want you to understand is when you pray, God hears. When you call out to God, he's listening. But we forget that God is true to his word. He is true to himself. There is a spiritual war going on. And we, in order to please God, must show faith. Well, if we have to show faith in order to please God, then he's going to allow us to be in situations where we won't believe unless we believe by faith. So when you cry out to God, when you get on your knees at night and you pray to him, he hears you. We see that when Philip and Nathanael are off speaking, and as they come up to Jesus, Jesus says what he says about Nathanael, because God speaks to us through the Holy Spirit. Well, God sees what's happening, shares that with Jesus. Now Jesus knows. When Daniel prayed for revelation, for understanding, 3 weeks passed. But the angel says on the first day, God heard. Will you allow your faith to grow? Allow yourself to understand that, yes, someone is listening. His name is El Shaddai, Elohim, Jehovah. All you must do is exercise your faith, and then trust him. Like Daniel, it may take 3 weeks. It may take longer. But you can believe God will always be on time. I pray that this is a blessing for you. And remember, stay strong. So what you waiting for? Someone to feel the pain some more? Cause you ain't share the love, the grace you found within the Father's care. To share the love of God is more than just a simple job. It's Christ speaking the off a Holy Spirit law. Share it.